Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another weapons mod, and there has been quite a few very good mods lately, but this is another rocket turret, which is called the Torpedo Turret, which is this lovely thing sitting right behind me. So this fires 4 missiles, it has much higher damage than the traditional turret, 6 times as much damage, but it only has 1/3 of the damage per second, due to the 20-second reload and only firing 4 missiles when compared with the vanilla rocket launcher. It does have a much higher projectile speed, and it also has almost double the range, so it fills in a nice little niche compared to the vanilla rocket turret. Anyway, once you've added this in through your world, you need no other mods, so no weapon core, no additional files, you just plop it in and now it's ready to go. So what we're going to do is have a quick look around the outside of this, we're then going to compare it to the vanilla rocket turret by firing them both together, so you can see the sheer rate of fire and how different they actually are, and then we're going to test it against some steel blocks, just to see the destruction it can cause. So at the very front for the torpedo turret, this is what we get. So right in the very middle, we've got ourselves our lovely sensor and camera setup to, well, make sure you can find the target and shoot it. To left and right of that, we can see our torpedo tubes, we can see where all 4 of them are going to come out. Moving all the way up to this is simply what it looks like. Then over to this section, that's the part where it's going to lift up and down in order to aim at its target. Moving all the way down to the base, it's very much like the base from the artillery turrets, so it fits in perfectly with the vanilla weaponry. As we have to move around onto the side, here we go, this is the side of the missile tubes. Got like little handles on there, so you could, if you want to, just dismantle this and put it back together if you want a bit of role playing. And come around towards the very back of this thing, there's the rear access where you'd probably just load up torpedoes from this side. Then at the back of the main body, we've got this little targeting computer thing, or at least I think it is a targeting computer. Got little knobs, little lights to fiddle around with. And down to here we've got our remote operation system, where we can see it's automated equipment, referred to the user manual, may operate without warning, use with caution. And it looks like we've got some more text all the way up to here, so we've got like a serial code, and it was made in space. Moving all the way up and looking down, there we go, we see a little antenna on top, and coming all the way down underneath it, and past the steel blocks, there we are, that's our connection point, to load it up with ammunition. And there we go, that's a brief look around the outside of the torpedo turret. That looks bloody fantastic. Due to the ways it's all been designed, it fits very well with the vanilla weaponry. But now what I can do is grab hold of my character before we get into the seat and test it out. What I will do is come into here and actually find it in the spawn menu. So here we go, so that is the vanilla rocket turret. Then we'll come across over to this. There is the torpedo turret. So as you can see, it's got a slight difference in cost, so it's a bit more expensive, which should do a lot better in combat, especially against large ships. Yes, coming to this chair and angle the camera slightly like so. What I'm going to do is now activate both of them at the same time, and this is their rate of fire. So as you can see, compared to the vanilla turret, we are much slower. We're only done 2 missiles. When the vanilla rocket turret has fired its full-on salvo, then by the time it's fully reloaded after 20 seconds, there'll be a lot more shots out of the vanilla rocket turret. So like I said, it's got much higher DPS compared to the modded turret sitting right next to it. So do that one more time, firing it. There's the first. There's the second. There's the third. That's now firing again. There's the fourth. Now it's reloading. And now they're both reloading. So there we are. So now what I'm going to do is just fire this chair. Now build up some steel blocks over here. We're going to shoot it with the torpedo turret. See what kind of damage it can cause. This will be against some light armored blocks. Just going to put them in the middle here. So all the way across. And then up slightly. There we go. Coming back into the seas. Now I'm going to fire it one more time. And I suppose what I will do is now come into this menu. And coming into it, we can now aim it from this camera, and moving it around is exceptionally slow, so not going to be able to snipe fast-moving targets. Now aiming at the middle of the wall, firing it once. There we go, that's the damage it dealt, and you can see it does a lot of area damage on there. We made 2 holes quite far away from where I actually fired it, so one more missile should actually remove that center section. Firing it again, and there we go, that's one hell of a lot of damage. If we were to compare it to the vanilla rocket turret, so if we were to drag this one all the way down as well and take control of that, now come to that and aim it across. For comparison, this thing is exceptionally speedy while moving around, so this won't have any issues shooting fast-moving targets. So aiming over here, firing it once. There we go. Firing it again. There we are. Firing it one more time. And again. And as you can see the sheer damage difference between these turrets, but due to the rate of fire, we will eventually get a hole through it when the entire salvo has gone through. Anyway, now what we're going to do is remove that and come over to some heavy armored steel blocks. And we'll do that one more time. So here we are once again, we have now fully reloaded. There's a bunch of heavy armor steel blocks shooting directly into the middle once. There we go, we now got some deformed blocks shooting it one more time. And looks like after the 4 missiles have gone through, we haven't made a hole through the heavy armor steel blocks. So firing that one again. And then that one more time. And yes, it looks like this thing is not going to be able to penetrate a heavily armored steel block ship. It's going to take quite a lot of shots to go all the way through, where the vanilla rocket turret will probably win out at the end of the day due to the sheer rate of fire and the sheer amount of damage it can actually pump out. But anyway, enough of that. Coming out of that and removing the wall altogether, what we're going to do now is spawn in a small ship, and then we're going to shoot it with the torpedo turret to see what kind of damage it can deal to a tiny little fighter. And I know the perfect test dummy to use this against. So finding the good old Dex fighter, there it is. Spawning this in, that's the wrong button. Now we're just going to drop it down like so. Come back into the chair. Aiming directly towards it. Now it's time to shoot it with one of these. So firing one. There we go. That looks like it did quite a lot of damage to the wings. I'll need to aim slightly over here to make sure the missile can hit it directly on. And there we go. The entire middle of the ship has completely disappeared. That's been split in half by 2 missiles. And that's a very quick destruction of that small little fighter. But now what I'm going to do is remove this over here, spawn in more of the torpedo turrets. I'm going to spawn in the good old Albatross, a large block ship. Then we're going to give it to the space pirates to see how it handles a full-on bombardment from this turret. And here we go to end this video, because there's not much else to talk about with this turret. It's very self-explanatory what it does, but it's a lot of fun to use and does fill in a nice gap if you do want to have a long-range, much slow-firing, explosive turret. So yes, I've given the Albatross to the space pirates. We're now going to fly over to where I place a bunch of different turrets. And we're going to see what kind of destruction they can cause as we were to fly over them. And here we go, they've now open fired. I was a little bit worried that they weren't actually going to shoot the Albatross. Bring the free camera back over. There goes the missile barrage. And there is the damage it's dealing to the Albatross. Listen to that sound of them just roaring across this. And they are making very, very quick work of this poor little ship. There goes all the missiles. We've lost all of our smoke trails. This is now falling down to the ground. We've now lost all of our thrusters. And it should do after another salvo in 20 seconds, just completely and utterly annihilated, unless of course it falls down to the ground and blows itself up. Here comes more missiles, and we should now get a massive volley in just a second from all the other turrets. There it is, that's what I was expecting. And that's all that remains of the poor Albatross. So yes, that's pretty much it. Very self-explanatory what it does. Thought some people might like this turret, so it's a very nice addition to the game if you do want to have something very vanilla-like to use in your world. And I suppose before I actually end this video, there is one more thing to talk about, and that's of course changing the colour and changing the skins of the turret. So whether say come across to a red while they're still pummeling the poor old Albatross, come into a glamour skin, and change everything. There we go, we can see they are fully compatible with the skins. Opening this up once again and going for say a blue plastic armour. Can put that all the way across. There we go. Now we'll say come across to a yellow and a disco colour, wherever that's gone. Now we've got a nice yellow colouring. They are unfortunately shooting each other because they have been lined all the way up and they're shooting a target on the ground. Not too much I can do about that. Suppose we can now come across to say a green colouring and then a neon colour will surface. And there we go with that. But yes, as I was saying, that's pretty much it what this has to offer. It's a lovely little turret to use in your world. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around it yourself. I highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.